to Mordona. I'm Mordona with the year 2020 than I've ever been with any year before. One day, this channel will be known for the just unbelievable puns that I fire out like faster than any other person. It's gonna really become an art form. It's really what I'm sort of tailoring this content towards, other than me just yelling about how cute Grahatia is. So we'll see if I get there. I don't know yet. I'm not sure, but maybe one day. Okay, here is the Good Boy Squad assembled again. Reunited once more. Anything else that looks like it's changed in here? No, they are still squatting back there. Wow. That has been some competition. There's that squat competition has just been going forever. I mean, at least they have stamina. You know, you need it. Hori Boulder is a strong, powerful friend. And so is Anor. Kryle, tell me what you got on your mind.
I take it you have news to share. So do I. I'm pleased to see your mission was a success, and in no small part due to the bonanza.
Croyle's back too. I wonder what was decided at the council. Large, lowborn presence detected. I am surrounded by filth. Wonderful news, Valka. Tataru contacted Sid on our behalf, and he is on the way here even as we speak. While we wait, I should like very much to hear what transpired at the Alliance Council. Would you be so kind, Kryle? She's like, I got you. And then we all knew what happened. Oh, it's gonna be a little more in depth than that. Okay, all right. And ominous. So I just... Serious time.
As you know, the meeting was convened to discuss how best to respond to the recent events in Garlemald. According to intelligence from our Domin allies, the War of Succession rages on, and the Empire remains without a leader. Amidst the chaos, the Imperial legions in the provinces have begun to move independently of the motherland. Of greatest concern to us is the Ild, a legion aligned with Lord Nerva. It appears they have received substantial financial backing from House Brutus. I don't remember about Brutus. Was House... Oh, there we go. Okay. It's sorted. We got it sorted. We're good. Brutus. Aren't they the ones who took in Yotsuyu and Asahi?
Well, this bodes well.
Xenos' movements, meanwhile, remain shrouded in mystery. We're hoping that Thancred and Urianger will be able to shed some light on his activities when they return. Until such a time that they do, the Allied leaders feel it would be unwise to interfere in the conflict, and so, thanks in part to the Imperial withdrawal from Gimlet, they have decided to turn their attention to the primal problem once more. Working with friendly factions among the beast tribes, they hope to reopen dialogue and explore new avenues for peace.
This is so long overdue. It's funny because this is completely, like, it just doesn't seem to have anything to do with Garlemald or anything, right? But this really is a huge, glaring thing from the core game. This idea that, like, especially since then, with our own Beast Tribe missions and all sorts of stuff, we have learned that obviously these are their own peoples, they have their own culture, they have their own, like, you know, beliefs, society, and the fact that for so long they have been treated so poorly by the allied nations, it's not a good look. It's not a good look. So I'm glad that they are, you know, trying to find some more peace, especially with, you know, if you've done any of those quests, which are worth doing, I think. The ARR ones they're really long. I would love it if at some point they kind of condensed or like made the amount of quests you had to do each day for the beast tribes or things shorter, but gave you more rewards. I don't know. It would be nice. But still, I mean, there's a lot of good lore you learn, and we knew that a little bit of this might be coming from the trailer with my #1 beautiful Rugadin, pirate captain of my heart. So I'm glad that they are revisiting this, because it'll make us stronger in the long run if we are allied with them, right? Given the timing, I suspect they wish to put their respective houses in order ahead of a decisive clash with the Empire.
Whatever their intent, this is not a problem easily solved. The Lominzins, in particular, struggle in their efforts, and Alfinoni Stola have been called upon to aid them. So long as we are dealing with the tempered, I'm afraid no amount of dialogue will avail us. Will avail us? It's dramatic. Definitely not me tripping over the words, everyone. But if we can develop a treatment for tempering, then anything is possible. Which is why we must succeed. And on that cherry note, why not make yourselves comfortable in Dawn's respite? I'll show Sid in as soon as he arrives. Okay, alright, we're setting things up slowly but surely. Slowly but surely. I understand you took a little trip to Azizla. Raha made himself useful, I trust. We've made the respite cozier than ever. You're going to love it. Is it the same as when I was in there earlier, or is it even more different and cozier and more comfortable? How many video game consoles do we have in here? And can I play on all of them? Do we have a PS5? Oh, no, couldn't get the pre-order. Oh, well. Could you get any of the sales over Thanksgiving? Oh, no? Oh, this is a bummer. Books? Ooh. I mean, I guess. Says an actually fairly avid reader. Although I won't lie, everybody, I don't know if anyone else has had video games take over a lot of their reading time, but that has happened to me in recent years, yeah. I mean, that's pretty cozy. This sort of looks like either they are brewing tea here or they have some sort of like herbal, you know, like if you get a really like a bad cold or something and then you put a whole bunch of herbs in a hot bowl of water and then you put a towel over your head. Bebop does that for me. I don't know if anybody else has that happen. But it kind of looks like that's the sort of station we have here. Like a neti pot or something. I mean, this is all cute though. This whole place is very cute. Sid, at long last. As important as Gabu is to me, I know only too well how much more is at stake here. A cure could change the whole world. Warning. His Highness is exhibiting elevated blood pressure. He is excited. We all are, bud, don't worry. I hope that Archive Node becomes our new scion, our newest one. Ah, my best friend, Archive Node. And the music theme that they put behind it. Oh, they're so good. Oh, they're so good. Sid. All of our friendos. We have the Scions. We have at least a representative from the first. We've got the Ironworks. Oh, Sid. Even though they give him a fantasy British accent, but I usually give him a little bit more of like a good boy American accent, as in sort of like a shonen protagonist. So I think I'm gonna go for that with him. Forgive us for not coming to see you sooner, my friend. As you may have heard, we've had our hands full. In our defense, you are up rather early. I was under the impression you'd be slumbering a while longer. Oh, I would have been, had you not fulfilled your promise. I still struggle with that idea. From where I stand, the secrets of traversing time and space seem exactly as unfathomable as they ever did. But if an alternate version of myself has already laid them bare, I dare say that frees me up to concentrate on other endeavors. Speaking of which, you wanted my help with something? What is it? He's just starstruck. That's just his entire mood. Every time. Just new friend, you know. Well, well. A treatment for tempering. And for the next step, you need to find the password to this Allagan's report. Just so. With nary a clue to guide us, we could be here forever and still not guess correctly. And thus, we turn to you. Well, I'd love to say that we could help you, so I will. Once suitably configured, a Magitech terminal should make short work of identifying the password. I knew I could rely on you. Now, anticipating that it might be of use, I took the liberty of borrowing a tombstone from Rambros. It contains an Allagan dictionary.
He's so prepared, he's so ready. He didn't even need that lunchbox that we packed for him.
Good thinking. I'll transfer the information to a terminal and set it to work right away.
Just bringing everybody together in Eorzea one step at a time. One Allagan tombstone at a time. And hey, they've reused that from Omega. I love it.
Ah, it looks like it's finished. Let's see. Freedom. The password is freedom.
Huh, short and simple, just as I said. Would you care to do the honors, Your Highness? Okay, now hold on a second. Now hold on a second, though. Now hold on a second. This file about tempering, and possibly the effects, possibly any, you know what I mean? Was deleted, was password locked so that not even royalty could access it without the password. And the password is freedom. All of this is concerning, number one. Number two, were the Allagans tempered? Like, I have a lot of questions right now. Were the Allagans tempered? Did... Tin hat time. Wild theory time. This will probably all be proven wrong in a mere matter of seconds time. Could it have been that the Emperor or that somebody within the Empire or the Allagan like Empire, or maybe a primal that we don't know about, or maybe one of the primals that we do know about, right? Because we know that Zodiark did have influence through the Ascians into Allag. Like we know that from various lore things. And from some of the, even like summoner quests, I think, right? Where summoning was like an Allagan art that bears a striking resemblance that was taught to them by Ascians and bears a striking resemblance to some of the symbols of like Ascian faceplates and things like that. So, okay. So Ascians, the ancients, Allag, like there's definitely a connection. I mean, I don't necessarily think that they were tempered to Zodiark, but... I mean, there definitely were some weird things with even, like, Emperor Zan's behavior. There were definitely some weird things within the Empire. And the idea that, like, a treatise or something examining the effects of tempering had been removed and then locked with the word freedom makes me think there may have been some kind of faction in ancient Allag that would have been tempered. Now... whether or not that was, you know, that an emperor had something like the Echo and had been able to sort of take hold of the power of, I guess, corrupting aether or corrupting minds to that degree. Maybe they merged with a primal. This is all wild theorizing, but this is also very interesting. And I'm curious to see what happens here. Let's see. Let's see. I would, milady. Oh, Graha. No, not that one. No. You're new to this. You're new to this world, but you don't have a fedora, so you don't need to use the word milady. It's okay. It's all right. I know you just used it because it's just like a nice way to say my lady, you know. But it carries certain connotations. Okay. Node. Open report entitled Iconic Corruption and Overview. Password freedom. Password accepted. Opening report. pretty boy. That ancient Allagan is attractive. He's pleasing to look upon. I guess tell me about primals as well, buddy. I was trying to imagine what an ancient Allagan whose name was just Owen would look like. I really thought they'd have some wacky name. The Emperor's name was Zant. Owen. You cute though, Owen. It's alright.
This report seeks to provide an overview of the mechanism by which icons corrupt and bind men to their will. The phenomenon we call corruption refers to the alteration of the aether of the soul.
He got some personality too. He got a beautiful face and good hair and a personality. But this person very long dead, right? He's been dead for a very long time. So I can't imagine that they would be a new character for us.
Said aether ordinarily exists in equilibrium.
Also a Sophia, maybe a little bit of a Sophia thing there. I don't know.
No one element being more prominent than another. But when a subject is exposed to the aether of an icon, this changes, their soul taking on the properties of the entity in question.
Oh, we got Sephiroth in here, or Sephiroth, excuse me.
By way of an example, exposure to the aether of the fiend, Sephiroth, would cause a subject's aether to become aligned with the element of earth.
Okay. This is kind of basic stuff that we've already gone over, but it's good to have in like actual concrete detail here with an illustrative sort of diagram and an attractive man telling, or attractive person, we don't know their gender identity yet, but you know, they have very nice hair, and that's what I'll say about that.
As a consequence, the subject would attain heightened affinity with earth-aspected magics, as well as preternatural levels of endurance. Repeated exposure would further enhance these traits, ultimately altering the subject's very flesh.
So, Sin Eaters. Oh, what are they gonna look like if you do? Oh! The unfortunately named Kakmas were once people. But that's like... that's like the specific sort of expression of what would be Sephiroth's earth-aspected ethereal influence on them, right? Again, I'm not going to spoil anything specifically in this particular playthrough that I am now recording and will be broadcasting to you via YouTube. But with the normal raids, we did learn a little bit more about the source of some things. So again, it's even interesting that, like, I think the Sin Eaters, the way that they sort of manifest could be different depending on certain circumstances with that light aether, so that it's not quite as uniform maybe as we thought. And especially too with things like Titan. I'm curious about how Titan's sort of corruption over time might look different, because Titan being earth aspected might look different than something like Sephiroth's sort of earth aspected overexposure, right? The changes undergone by the subject are not solely attributable to elemental alignment, however. Further testing has determined that the subject's soul becomes umbrally charged, or stagnant, during the process. This stagnation of the soul has the effect of diluting the sense of self, rendering the subject vulnerable to the will of the icon, the thoughts of whom can come to consume their entire existence. In this manner do the corrupted become worshippers of the icon, their prayers serving to further empower the entity. How long do you think Owen spent on coming up with those sick graphics effects, that special effects? He's like, oh, this is gonna be so good. I'm gonna blow them out of the water with this report. I'm gonna put in a part where like Sephiroth punches, but then rather than Sephiroth, like, you know, just doing a punch and like crushing somebody, I'm gonna step out in a shower of sparkles. I understand my sort of envisioning of Owen's voice sounds very kind of quiet and practical. But I think this friend has a little side of drama that we haven't seen yet. So if Owen makes a comeback, maybe I'll add a little bit of that in there.
Having discerned the mechanism of iconic corruption, my colleagues and I set out to develop a material capable of shielding one from its effects, an endeavor in which we were successful, albeit at great cost. In the course of testing, many of my assistants, good men and women all, fell victim to corruption, and in accordance with protocol they were summarily put to death. I subsequently submitted a proposal to investigate potential cures for corruption, but it was rejected, deemed non-essential by Lord Aemon. Though I knew it would be fruitless, I protested the decision, and for my impertinence, I have been stripped of rank and title, and will shortly be expelled from this facility. In all likelihood, this report will be expunged from the archives. Nevertheless, I record it, in the hope that one day someone will undertake to do that which I could not, and find a cure for the victims of iconic corruption. End recording.
I just liked the sound effect that they used for that. It was just good. I can't mimic it, but it was very good. It was very good. Okay, so maybe not something more large scale like a massive, I don't know, very dramatic, very cool. I'm just saying it would have been very cool if Alec had been all, you know, sort of corrupted by something. But, you know, it's all right. It seems like more so that it was just because the dangers of pursuing the research were too great, which is kind of a funny joke coming from Alec, if I'm gonna be real. Alec did not seem to care about that, you know what I mean? I guess safety protocols in their facilities, but it's unusual that they seem to really be upset by the loss of life in pursuit of knowledge. Although it's a little different when it is their own researchers and people, I guess. When, you know, they're supremacists or something like that.
So, not even the Allagans were able to find a cure. Or rather, were not given the chance to do so. One cannot help but wonder what motivated Lord Aemon's decision.
Well, maybe. I'll put that tinfoil hat back on just a little second longer.
More importantly, this confirms that stagnation of the soul is indeed the problem, and Angelo can remedy that. True, yet were we simply to reanimate a tempered soul, I fear it would do naught to diminish the individual's fanatical faith. Indeed, it may well intensify it. No, we would somehow need to suppress the primal's hold over the subject at the same time, or risk them remaining its thrall forever.
Interesting. So we need to reinforce their sense of self. I'm trying to think, you know, what would do this? I mean, we know that they're, because of what's been happening in Boja, which I will talk about since that's not specifically tied to this patch and has been out for a little while now, we know that, like, in Boja, right, this idea of these seers who are able to use Aurasight as sort of a way to look into others' memories. Now, those memories can be corrupted, they can be altered, they can be changed. They are not a, like, static, perfect thing, right? But is it possible that they could do something like that? Maybe. Is Aurasight possibly the stone that, you know, we saw referred to there by Owen, where it's like there's some property or something that we can do with that protects others from the influence of a primal? Like, maybe. There's a lot of different possibilities right now. I'm not totally sure which one they're going to sort of pursue. I mean, it's also possible that the echo by itself, which we know can be used in tandem with something like Aurasight, right? But that the echo itself could be a shield to sort of alleviate that pressure to some degree, just as it can kind of protect other people from the initial influence of a primal. I have many theories. I don't know which one will prove true, though. Okay. If we could only make them remember who they were.
But of course, memory transference. The process has the effect of compartmentalizing memories, separating them into manageable bundles, if you will.
So sort of what Graha did to put himself into Crystal, and then...
By adapting the technique, it may be possible to achieve selective reanimation. That is, limit the effects to only those memories that existed prior to tempering. Through thus restoring the sense of self, we could theoretically drown out the incitements of false faith, which had come to dominate the individual's thoughts. I see. The theory seems sound, and our experience treating the light corrupted would help us to identify suitable memories for reanimation. But are you confident you can adapt memory transference as required? I seem to recall your attempts to do so while trying to bring us home culminated in literal bloodletting. They did. You are right. Despite my best efforts, I could not recreate the mechanism, and I concede that the rather clumsy compromise I reached would not provide the basis for a cure. Then perhaps it's better that we consider another approach. Your doubts are understandable, but this time I believe we have reason to be confident. You see, nodes such as this were built with the ability to simulate magics, which leads me to believe that it may be capable of performing simulations of the transference technique. If so, we would be able to conduct a year's worth of tests within the space of a few days. In theory, it would be no different from how we identified the password, but it'll take more calculating power, a lot more. I couldn't honestly say whether our equipment would be up to the task. Tell me, Sid, why do you suppose Owen locked his report behind a password? To keep it from prying eyes, of course. Why else?
Like, just tell me. Just tell me. Give me your secrets, Final Fantasy. Let me pry them out of your hands.
Wait. A password that could be guessed by anyone with leisure, and a dictionary wouldn't keep it from a person minded to look. No, he wanted his report to be seen by those who strive for freedom. Not unlike the members of a certain distinguished engineering collective. I believe their motto was freedom through technology or some such. You two, round up as many Magitech terminals as you can find and bring them to the workshop.
Right away, Chief! Tataru's like, yeah! Yeah! She's ready. She's into it.
Things are about to get very busy. Lucky we have you to help, eh?
I don't know anything about technology. I can barely troubleshoot my own computer. But I'll do my best, bud. I think maybe Sid was looking past me to Tataru behind me, who just built a literal airship all by herself. So I was just kind of in the way of that, you know what I mean? I mean, I was there for the Omega stuff, which, sure, that was a lot of technology, but mostly I just got teleported into, I don't know, sci-fi fields and then hit something really hard until it dispersed. Sort of died, if you will, which is one troubleshooting technique, but maybe not a good one. All right, let's double check on the recording real fast. Looks like we're still good. Looks like still good. Looks like we still got audio happening. All right, okay.
As with our first foray into the labyrinth of the ancients, we seek to venture into the unknown. And in order to succeed, we require not only knowledge and preparation, but daring besides. Just like old times. Everything you say is a gift. Your little scarf is very good, too. We're getting there, Valk. One step at a time.
All those Magitech terminals won't come cheap. Oh, shut up, Tataru. Oh, some things you shouldn't put a price on.
Suffice it to say, I shall be of whatever help I can.
Silence. Nothing to say there, only silence.
Right. While Grahat, Tia, and I configure the terminals, I want the rest of you to procure supplies. Namely, ceruleum to fuel the terminals, and ice shards to keep them cool. The more we have of both, the better. Leave the ice shards to me. I'll round up some adventurers and go on a gathering spree. In that case, I'll trust Valka and Alice with the ceruleum. Here's a promissory note for you both. Here's your allowance. I included some carrot sticks in case you get hungry. Look, I've been in charge of Biggs and Wedge for a long time. You would not believe how long they go without eating. Take them to Sky Steel Manufactory in Istgard and to the ceruleum processing plant in Thanalan. The people there will give you what we need.
Yours is a well-known face in the Holy See, I believe. If it's all the same to you, I'll head to Thanalan. Okay, Graha, you can come with me? No! When am I gonna get trust systems, but like instead of trust system, it's like companion chocobo, but instead it's just companion Grahatia? When am I gonna get like a Grahatia skin for my chocobo? Not in a weird, creepy way. Not like, you know, not like a skin suit. Just something that lets me take him with me everywhere. That's all that I'm asking. That's all that I need. I would do Fates much more. I'd do Hunt Trains much more. I kind of fell off of that for a while. But if I had Grahatia with me and there were like 5,000 other Grahatias all just shouting around, that would really be the best for me personally. I would be really into it. I'm just saying. We shall see to it that the terminals are ready by the time you return. If Alice is bound for the ceruleum processing plant, you'll want to take yourself to the Sky Steel Manufactory. Off you go now. Okay, bye-bye. Let's go. How am I gonna get there the fastest? Probably if we go to Foundation. And then we use an Aetherite. How much you wanna bet? I've played some Final Fantasy XIV. At least a few times in, I don't know, the however many years it's been since Heavensward. It is nice that they are taking us around to so many places that are relevant to what's happening. You know what I mean? Like, revisiting places sometimes can be boring. Sometimes, you know, you're kind of like, man, I do wish we had seen something new, gone somewhere new, gotten a new map, done, you know. But it's also nice when we've had so much that has happened since the base game to now be able to go back, right? Because the world is a very different place than it was when we started in A Realm Reborn. And it's, you know, it's changed even with the rebirth of A Realm Reborn. There has just been so much. So it's nice to see them sort of taking us back around, kind of bringing in some of the people that we haven't seen for a while with stuff on the source, addressing some of these long time little hiccups like the Beast Tribes, little hiccups if you want to call, I don't know, oppressing an entire race of people, a little hiccup. Some of these little hiccups that we have going on. It's nice to see that addressed. It's nice to see us sort of touching on it again as we come back to Garlemald too. Okay, we are going to Sky Steel. I have not listened to the in-game music in this zone for so long, and I forgot how good it is. I love the entire mood of Ishgard. It just has such a strong... All of Heavensward had a really strong sense of self and its sort of style. Stormblood got a little bit chaotic. You know, there was a lot of just like... Because they were trying to split between these two continents. Like, there was a lot of kind of mishmash of things, and I don't really feel like Alamigo was as strongly realized as it could have been, honestly. It feels very incomplete still, so maybe someday they'll patch that because that'd be amazing. But it is definitely... I don't know, Heavensward really feels like it had such a strong sense of style to it. And of course, Shadowbringers also had great design, but this one really stands out for me, just like the general tone and feel as far as expansions go.
From below. From below?
I don't know. I only took French for a little bit and I wasn't very good at it.
Welcome back, Mistress Valke. How may I serve you this day?
I'm sorry I gave you such a terrible accent. I'm not very good at them.
So, you are after Cerulean. In that case, please present the note to our engineer at the airship landing. He shall be glad to assist you.
Okay. I wish you could have just given it to me right there. I wish I didn't have to go to the airship landing. But that's fine, you know, it's good to get exercise. Let me remember. How does my butt get to the airship landing from here? What's the closest? Last vigil. Sea of Clouds airship landing. Okay, Athenium Astrologicum. We'll head over here. Down this way. This little baby of Mars so cute. I just saw this the other day. I don't know where it comes from. Is it maybe it's from the story like stuff this time around, if everybody has it right now. Just look at him. I want it. I want it. Oh, do they interact? They're definitely facing each other. They're definitely adorable. They're almost on par with how cute Grahatia is. No, okay, it doesn't seem like they have a really big interaction. Maybe they do face each other though.
Cerulean, you've come to the right man. Fair warning though, the price has shot up on account of the uncertainty with the Empire, so I hope you've got the coin.
I have a note. That's as good as money, right? It's a Ron Swanson note that just says, I do what I want, and it's signed Sid. Ron Sidson.
Oh, well now. Promissory note from the Ironworks. I don't see many of those. Not that it's a problem. It's as good as gold to me.
Well, this guy gets his own cutscene. Look at you coming up in the world. Good job. I'm so proud of you. Oh, not your own cutscene, huh? All the glory is being stolen. Way more attractive Ellison are on their way in. Well, one Ellison.
After the disappointment of not seeing you in Alamigo, what good fortune to chance upon you here of all places.
They're really gonna do me like this? Grahatia and Baemeric all in one go? All in one patch here? Oh, you wanna take me to dinner again? I'll do it in a heartbeat. Patch 5.4. Rook's thirst really reaches new heights. I can't help it, they just keep putting beautiful people in this game.
As you may have heard, the Allied nations are making a renewed effort to address the primal problem.
I did hear, good job pooping.
To that end, have I invited the chieftain of the Vanu to Ishgard, that we might together plot a course.
Look at you making peace with dragons and bird people. I'm so proud of you. You've grown so much.
Since the war with the Empire appears to be nearing its conclusion, I would also like to call upon Estinian's lance. Alas,
are we gonna go find him?
He is, as ever, a difficult man to find.
You just gotta sneak a link pearl into his armor. He never takes it off or washes it. One time somebody hosed him down, which is how he got all that ketchup off of it. But if you just sneak it in there, you'll be able to find him at all times. That's what I did.
I am informed he recently paid a visit to the Rising Stones. Should he happen to do so again, be sure to pass on my regards, won't you?
Do I get to see him again, finally?
But tell me, what business brings you to our fair city this day?
I've been wondering if one day they will do some kind of retexture for Estinian. Because don't get me wrong, he looks very good the way he is. But I do feel bad that in the same expansion where we got Emeric's custom, beautiful, flawless angel face, poor Estinian just had to deal with the generic Ellison CC, which as we all know is its own uphill battle. You can get some good stuff, but they could definitely give us some more. You know what I mean? So I keep waiting for him to have some kind of magical transformation where, like, in the next expansion, suddenly he has his own unique facial structure. It could happen. I don't, yeah, they could, fantasy plastic surgery probably exists. Magical beautification might be a thing. Maybe he's secretly very, very, you know, very into cosmetic beauty and we just didn't realize it. Sorry, Baemeric, I went off on a long tangent, but I am good. And I'm here for ceruleum. I'm good and I'm here for ceruleum.
A cure for tempering.
Oh, that too.
You never cease to amaze me. Until now, our only hope has been prevention, our every failure irrevocable. But this would rewrite the rules of engagement. It could end the cycle of bloodshed.
He's so passionate!
Very well. You shall have all the ceruleum we can provide, and an airship with which to transport it.
Thanks! That's generous. Baemeric hands over his own note that's like, I can do what I want.
You may count on Ishgard's full support.
Thanks, Bae. I wish we'd had a few little dialogue options there to say something. And I'm not just saying that because I wish there'd been one that was like, do you remember our dinner? It was great. We should do that again sometime. You and me. Just saying. A nice glass of wine, you know. Lucia can come too. It'll be great. I definitely have the right priorities in mind right now. I just would like to state that for everyone involved. Oh, it's still going. Airship? Oh, ceruleum. Oh. This is the lab they set up. Interesting. Oh man. This looks like all this nonsense could be used to summon a primal. I don't necessarily think that's gonna happen. These are not, you know, crystals that we have here. This is not, you know, we have a lot of ceruleum though, so it's kind of an explosion waiting to happen. But there's definitely a lot of power in this place. And a lot of good boys. But that's just par for the course at this point. Why does she look so sad? What happened? Did you not get any? She's just tired. Maybe she's just tired.
Who would have thought ceruleum weighed so much?
She's just tired. She's working on getting real buff.
Serves me right for being stubborn, I suppose. I should have just done what you did and accepted help.
That's just who you are, Alice.
Good work, you two. This is all we asked for and more. Quite a lot more now that I look at it.
Maybe it's just because it has been so long since I heard Sid talk that wasn't the Crystal Tower cutscenes that his voice has completely caught me off guard. It's not too far off what I've been doing. All right. Because I know his voice actor did change. There was a turnover of voice actors from like the base game for various reasons. So I just forgotten what he sounded like, honestly. Sorry, buddy.
Lord Baemeric, eh? And entirely by chance. Ha! Some people have all the luck.
He does have still a bit of fantasy British accent. They all do. It's so pervasive. It's everywhere.
We have also succeeded in configuring the terminals, thanks in no small part to our able assistant.
Good cute boy right there. Oh my god, you little twit.
It's been a while, hero. You seem surprised to see me.
No, I knew
Lest
you'd
you
rear your head again.
misunderstand, I've no interest in such things as cures for tempering.
No, I knew you'd be back around with your ramen noodle hair, Nero Toll Skava. I knew it. I knew it. I felt it in my soul. You gotta take
You've gotta take your sunglasses off while you're inside. Grahatia, the good, sweet, innocent boy that he is, he did not know that saying milady indicates that you're like a fedora tipper, you know? But you, Nero, you know better. You know that wearing your sunglasses inside, it's not a good look. It is as arrogant as your own personality.
And the fact that you've had your sunglasses etched to look even cooler. You gotta do something about that, bud.
But if you mean to achieve that which eluded even the storied Allagans, it seemed plain that you would require my expertise. And so it proved. Is that not right, Garland?
I mean, I don't want to say that the real like LGBTQIA plus power couple that could be so good if they went ahead and made it a real thing would be Nero and Sid, but Nero and Sid though. These two, they have so much frenemy energy. Why not just let that blossom into something more, you know what I mean? Just let that take its course. That's all I'm gonna say about that.
For all the effort it took to track you down after your latest disappearing act, you could find the cure for death, and it wouldn't be worth the trouble.
You know you love him.
That wasn't the only reason I agreed to cooperate. I'm reliably informed that Garland and I are destined to unravel the secrets of travel, not only across dimensions, but through time.
Yes, in a future that was really grimdark, minus the beautiful point of light that was the love you and alternate timeline Sid shared, Nero. Yes, you did do that, and you did discover the secrets of time travel through the power of your love. I just think of what you could achieve.
Doubtless the lion's share of the credit lies with me. 9 parts to Garland's 1. And this research will be a stepping stone to that illustrious achievement.
Very well then. I'll do 1/10 of the work. Just the part that's beyond you.
The one part that you could never hope to get in your entire life. I'll do that bit.
Whatever you say, Garland.
They're so good. I love their banter.
By the way, the healing applications of crystal foci proved very useful in getting us to where we are now. I must remember to thank Mikoto.
I was gonna say. Mikoto's been having a rough time of it though, so yeah, your words of thanks would be appreciated.
Right. If everyone's ready, let's begin.
Oh, right now? Okay. I thought we'd have like a break and then another cutscene. That's so much ceruleum. Makes me nervous just looking at it. They all look fine, but I'm over here butt clenched.
All appears to be in order. Now, we just have to wait for it to find us our magic. Why not take this opportunity to put your feet up? This may take a while.
Chill time? Alright, there's the chill time. There it is. Oh, or just more bonding time. Everybody falling asleep. I want Alice to like tip over or fall asleep on us. That'd be the cutest. I would never wake her up.
Damn it. It's overloading.
Well, looks like my butt clenching was in order. Looks like it was appropriate.
She won't last much longer! We'll have to shut it down.
Wait! We're close! So very close!
Yeah, but we can't get any closer if we're all dead, Graha.
Oh,
Sid, don't wait! Those two bigs and a wedge, they are living on borrowed time! They should have died like 4 times already!
Please, a moment longer. I beg you. There.
Oh, 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 oh. Well, at least the whole place didn't explode. Poor Tataru.
I was able to memorize the magic before it faded. It still needs to be put to the proof, but I believe we have our cure.
Just like that? Just like that?
It's just
No.
She'll never run again.
That's too easy. There's gonna be something about this that is not as straightforward as it seems.
The fault is mine. I'm sorry.
I mean, granted, it is, I guess, the culmination of an insane amount of knowledge spanning millennia. But that seemed too easy.
Don't be. It may fall short of dimension hopping, but a cure for tempering is not to be sniffed at. This, my friend, is a world-changing discovery. One we're proud to have had a hand in. A few Magitech terminals are a pittance to pay.
Thank you.
Encourage him. Let him grow and thrive.
Well, we've done what we can. The rest is up to you.
We'll take it and run, I guess. We'll just go for it. The end. Reviving the legacy. Quest complete. We did it. Okay. All right. Okay. So a lot of setup so far, which is to be expected considering that we are just coming off of what was a big wrap-up sort of patch, right? With 5.3, there were so many culminations of things they had been setting up for so long, including all of Shadowbringers. It makes sense that we have a bit of a setup leading into it here, but usually they do give us like a little bit of a hook, a stinger, something that keeps pushing us forward, right? So I feel like we are now about to reach that corner and sort of go around it.
Alas, the Ironworks crew couldn't linger long, far too much to do. Yet brief though our time was together, it was bloody good to see them. So we finally have it. The cure for tempering. All that remains is to put it to use. I shall be praying for your success on the front lines.
In the end, we didn't have to pay for the terminals, which is great for us, but I can't help but feel for my counterpart in the Ironworks. At long last, we have our cure.
In theory, at any rate. We cannot be certain until such time as we put it to the proof. But I am quietly confident.
Well, if we're to test it on someone, then I suggest Gabu. His symptoms are relatively mild. Don't test it on the one boy that you have been waiting expansions and patches to bring back. You never test it on the important person first. Not that there's anybody who isn't important in this world, but maybe any one of the tempered little rat boys around there. Any one of them that's just making up that whole zone leading up to Titan. Maybe one of them first.
As long as you exercise due caution.
Yes, as long as we exercise due caution, it will be fine. Without further ado then, let's make for Limsa. We've kept Gabu waiting long enough.
I'm very scared that everything is gonna go very, 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 very wrong. I doubt I could contribute much towards what comes next, so I shall cheer you on from afar. Best of luck with the treatment. We'll all be praying for your success.
It's gonna be fine. It's gonna be fine. There's nothing could go wrong with this. I trust him. I trust Grahatia. He's a good boy. I trust he wouldn't endanger anybody unnecessarily, except for himself, which he's proven. It'll be fine. It'll be just fine. Is it time for me to finally see her? Can I please see the Femru of my heart once more? It's been so long, and we recently had some very fresh betrayals with Femrus, and I just need the original sea captain. Just bring it back. Give me Merlvieb. Just give her back to me. Let me have this, and then we'll just have the ultimate love fest patch. The ultimate love fest patch with all the good characters. I realize that sounded a bit odd. In my defense, I oftentimes do sound a bit odd. So is it really not par for the course? That's the question. Okay, Aft Castle. Aft Castle. Here we go. I'm hoping we're almost to the dungeon, because I want to do the dungeon very badly. I always love a new dungeon. I mean, I love all the new content. We've even hopped in, obviously, with Day of, we started up Savage Raiding again, with the static that I'm a part of, so that's been great, and it's so good. It's so good to have that kind of content again to run with people. I didn't realize how much I'd missed it until we were back in, you know? But I do get very excited for seeing new dungeons, how it fits into the story, what the dungeon is like, and this one looks like it's gonna be really good.
'Tis plain Alisay is very fond of Gabu. To the extent that I have a hand in it, I shall do all in my power to bring him back. Well, this is the moment of truth. I'll have our hosts bring Gabu to us at once. There's just so many ways this could go so very wrong. They're just gonna like do it right here. They're just gonna do it like right here. Just like right here in front of half the entire city.
Apologies for the wait.
It's my little Betty. Hey dear. You little cinderfoot rat. You're so cute.
Gabu, have you been good?
As if Graha was not sweet enough on his own. Now they have to put this combo back into my life. Alisay and Gabu, which is the cutest thing ever. He don't say nothing. He's still tempered.
Still no change, I'm afraid. He just stands there in silence until we move him.
No.
It's all right now. We're going to help you get better.
We better. I don't want to kill him on accident. I will never forgive myself. Alisay will take a villain arc. Okay, if Ishtola is here, and Alphino, I feel a little bit better. Mostly because of Ishtola. Only a little bit because of Alphino.
Alphino, Y'shtola! I thought you were attending to primal matters.
Well, this is a primal matter.
We were, and came here for a meeting on the subject. Certain pirate factions did not deign to attend, however, and it was cancelled.
What, Merlvieb just pieced out and didn't show up?
We had resigned ourselves to having wasted a journey when we chanced to espy you.
Although I guess it could also just be other pirate factions underneath Merlvieb, right? That just didn't come, but they were all needed to reach some kind of accord.
Could it be that there has been progress with the treatment?
We don't know, we haven't tried yet. I mean, yes, we have a theory, but I'm hoping Ishtola's like, this is a terrible idea. You should test
Using
it.
Magitech terminals to formulate the solution. I would never have contemplated such an approach.
So this new magic, adapted from memory transference, would be used to purge the subject of their fanatical faith, while Angelo would be responsible for reanimating the ether of their soul.
In theory.
Yet I wonder at the practicalities. If one were to reanimate the soul first, it would only serve to exacerbate the tempering. Conversely, a stagnant soul would not respond to the effects of the magic. Would both need to be performed simultaneously?
I mean, it seems like it.
Ah, nothing escapes Master Matoya's inquiring eye. As you say, both must be carried out simultaneously. And thus, I propose to imbue Angelo with the tempering treatment in much the same manner as I did the spirit vessels.
Can you explain more? Oh. Whoa! Oh my gosh, it's so weird to see a Porksy over here.
By doing so,
like on our
we also
side.
spare G'raha the trouble of casting spell after spell. It's really rather efficient.
So they're just going to essentially imbue Angelo with the ability to do like both simultaneously?
Be that as it may, certain difficulties are unavoidable. The imbuing process will still require no small amount of ether.
Okay.
And as I can no longer draw upon the Crystal Tower's stores of energy, I will be compelled to rely on those of others.
I mean, we can all sort of weigh in and help here. We're a big
Well,
family.
I, for one, would be glad to assist.
We'll form a little circle. We'll sing, you know, like camp songs
As would
together.
I. Since the resumption of our duties, it has been naught but stuffy meetings, and I have ample ether to spare.
Do you, though? Your eyes are still a whole thing that are supposed to be eating at your actual, like, physical, tangible ether.
Excellent. With your permission, then, let us begin.
Oh my god, they're really just gonna do it right here. This just seems... it seems like there's a lot of stuff. A lot of bad decisions. Or, not bad, questionable.
Yes, this will do.
But he's so cute, I can't help but believe in him. Even when he's glowing slightly ominously.
Now, it's my turn.
Whoa! When do we get that kind of cool effect? Time Mage? This is where it all goes wrong, right? Well...
'Tis done.
Well...
No small amount indeed. Oh.
Alfredo, it's because you are small. You are still very small. So a small amount from you is... there's not a whole lot there left to work with, you know? You're a little slip of a boy.
Well, we seek to go where even the Allagans did not. It was never like to be easy.
Meanwhile, Valka just stands off to the side like, oof, that looked rough, fam. Yeah, no, I mean, I probably could have spared some, I could have probably spared some, but you seemed like you got it. You seemed fine. How you feel?
The rest is up to you, Alize. The treatment itself will take time and focus, so we will need a quiet room. I'm sure our hosts can spare one.
Okay, this is a little bit better than just trying to reanimate this boy's soul in the middle of the streets of a pirate city.
I will go with her. It may be a while before we return, so I would ask for your patience.
Everything about him
and
is
your faith.
Perfect. You have my faith. You have both patience and faith. I've got it for you in spades. Endless amounts. Just endless. An endless reserve. I love you. Take care of yourself. Be safe, both of you. Take care of that little good boy too. The little soot ball.
We'll bring Gabu back. You see if we don't.
Those are very ominous last words. Maybe I'm too much of a doubting person. Last patch I thought very bad things would happen, and then only very good things happened.
Let us find a place to recuperate while we wait for news.
So maybe this is just like a trend. Like maybe only good things will continue to happen. Alright, okay.
Another one bites the dust. Try not to think about sad things
that could possibly happen in this video game.
Alice will succeed. I'm certain of it. We need but have faith. Well, this seems as good a spot as any to have a rest.
I tend to pitch Alfredo's voice just a little bit higher than Alice. In theory, when I try to craft my voice acting.
For years, Eorzea has labored to find a solution to the primal problem, without success. Any hope that tempering could be reversed faded long ago.
This is a very silly side note that has nothing to do with the story, but I did just want to take a second because this bridge, like this setting that they've put this on with the stars behind, was one of the locations that Bebop and I, so Bebop is my partner, when we first started playing Final Fantasy XIV, this is one of the first spots that we ever took pictures together. And I just had a very sudden moment of almost like full circle nostalgia, you know what I mean? How far the game has come and how far we've come since then, and what it's like to just be here now. Playing and seeing like how so much has changed both in this story but then in all of our lives too. It's amazing. It's so amazing how an MMO can transcend years of your life to become a real memory, you know, and a real part of just your years as they continue to go on and as you take this journey with everybody. It's just, characters are real life. I mean, it's just amazing.
I myself had given it up as impossible. Given up on the tempered and the light corrupted alike. They were problems to be tolerated, or else eliminated, I believed. And to think otherwise was pure naivety. Childishness, even. But Alice refused to give up.
She determined.
She struggled and she struggled. And her efforts were rewarded with a way to bring back Halric. And now countless others may no longer be beyond salvation.
Yeah, your sister is pretty awesome, not gonna lie. But you've both had your own sort of realizations about how cool you both are at this patch, so.
However much we bicker, I have the greatest respect for my sister. Had I half her stubbornness, nay, her unwillingness to accept the status quo, I would be a far better person. A far better scion.
You're okay as it is. You're okay as it is.
I sneezed.
Alphino, you and I have taken a journey. I didn't care for Alphino at first. I thought he was the most nincompoop boy of all time, which is still kind of sometimes true, but now he's like an adorable nincompoop boy that I do love and I do want to see, you know, get smarter, get stronger, get better, do better. He has naive hope and, you know, a vision of the world and future that I think is important, you know, especially as like the new generation of Eorzeans come up. I don't hate him as much now. He's just still not as good as I'll say. But he's, you know, he has his own thing going on.
You're doing good.
Oh,
this is tough.
I feel like don't tell me, tell her is much more of a Valka thing to say, whereas, well, if it's any consolation, it's very much a Rook thing to say.
Don't tell me. Tell her.
I should, I know. Yet, despite my good intent, I have the feeling that I would only succeed in incurring her ire.
You wouldn't. You both love each other. No, 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 no. She's fine. She's fine. She's gonna be fine. She's all right.
Alice, are you all right?
She's all right.
The treatment. Did it work?
Did you check and see if she's okay?
He's smiling.
Oh, I'm so glad to see you all. Delighted, happy, glad.
Gaboo!
He's back! They did it! Nothing terrible happened! I really thought something terrible would happen. Oh, he's okay. Oh, he was so precious. I'm so glad, but is she alright? Oh, okay. Alright, everybody can breathe now. We can all breathe now. They don't play the happy, like, panpipe music unless something definitely good has happened. Look at him!
All this time, my mind was filled with thoughts of Great Father Titan.
Yeah, but now you're free.
But I never forgot about Mother and Father. Always, they were in my heart. Constantly, ever, always. So I tried to focus on their faces. Theirs and yours. Alize's and everyone's. And I found that I could remember. One thing, then another, and another.
Yay, they did it! So there's gonna be no more tempered mobs, right? Out in those
Gaboo.
original
They
maps.
helped him to hold on.
No.
I'm so proud of you, Gaboo.
You touch his little head, his cute little head.
I couldn't have done it without you, Alize. Can you help the others too? Cure them, heal them, help them.
Yes. Yes. Yes, we can.
Yes, we can. All of them.
Oh. He's so happy.
Without wishing to dampen the mood, I feel compelled to add certain caveats regarding the viability of the treatment for general use.
I mean, it seems like it almost killed Alice, so that might be a problem.
As you know, reversing the effects of tempering demands a profuse amount of ether. And while Alize was able to heal Gaboo alone, I fear the same will not be true for those who exhibit more advanced
That's
symptoms.
true. That's true. It's interesting because, for my own personal reasons, I have recently done quite a bit of research into the dragons in Ishgard, and also sort of the effects of, like, Radatoskr's curse, right? Like, with the blood lineage of various noble houses, but obviously that sort of proliferated down into the common people in Ishgard as well. Essentially, that makes it so that if you drink dragon's blood, you turn into a dragon. And that kind of transformation, I mean, that has to alone take a massive, massive amount of ether. So, like, the idea of reversing a full tempering, like, a full tempering as in what we were talking about even, right? Earlier with that cutscene where it's like somebody's physical vessel has been lost, as opposed to just like Halric, who was starting that physical transformation process, but like hadn't totally gotten there yet, or Gaboo, who had only kind of lost their mind, right? Yeah. I mean, if anything is gonna have the raw power to do something like that, a dragon seems like a fairly good kind of wellspring. But where they sort of secure this, and the fact that we do know we have Matoya's relic, which is the dungeon, right, makes me think that instead we're going to go to something like Sharlayan or to Matoya for more of a solution on this than we are, like, you know, going into Mare City or something. But it's interesting thinking about some of the stuff we already have in the game and how they might sort of tie together their sort of aetherology that they're building.
Moreover, the treatment's effects are limited to the soul. It offers no succor to those whose very flesh has been altered through prolonged exposure to a primal's influence.
So we couldn't, like, go cure the void, right? Because I think pretty much everybody there has been completely warped.
All of which is to say that we cannot save everyone.
Maybe we can't, or maybe we can. No one gave us a hope of saving Gaboo, and yet here we are. We must find a way to treat as many as possible.
I mean, yeah, we didn't even think that reversing tempering was possible, so maybe. Maybe.
Then The next logical step would be to produce a veritable army of porks, would it not? Granted, it seemed a simple enough process in the first, but I suspect it will be different here in the source. Not that I am any authority, of course.
Yet there is an authority on familiars to whom we may grudgingly turn.
She got all her
She's
fragos
stubborn,
and her
haughty,
brooms.
eccentric, irascible, laconic, annoying. And her name is Master Matoya.
And she my mom.
The real one.
She my mom, basically. And she's all those things and more. Yeah, I mean, she should be able to do it.
I have
it
to
seems
go now,
like...
Babu, but the people here will look after you, all right? And I promise to come and visit you again soon.
It seems like even with some of her current familiars, I mean, maybe there's something very specific about the construction of the Porksy versus like some of the other familiars that she has made, right? So there could be something different about the way that she kind of like, those creatures are animated and can then like dispense or retain magics. I don't know.
All right. Thank you, Alisaie. Thank you.
All right. Goodbye, little Gabu. Okay.
The way he waddles. They have just done me in so far with this patch. Not in like a I can't stop crying, please someone help. I'm crying nonstop. I will probably be able to water an entire field when this is all said and done. Not that kind of destruction, but they have definitely got me on the how many cute good friends would you like to see in one go. All right, now let's overload Rook so that all she can do is just make incoherent noises the whole time. That's sort of where I am at currently. And I'm processing it.
We did it. We brought Gabu back. And if I have any say in the matter, he'll be the first of many. Alisaie will be exhausted from her efforts, but you wouldn't think so to look at her now. If she's ready to press on, then so am I. So many fantasy British accents, and a Mikote who's merging with Alfin.
Yeah, give him a little personal. Just give the boy a little personal space.
You may recall that in order to procure the ingredients for Angelo, we had no choice but to surrender ourselves to the whims of the pixies. But I should have done so with far better grace had I known what we would go on to achieve.
We get everybody? Alright. The trace of a wry smile is visible on each other's lips. Hey, this is the dungeon! Because that's the art we've seen. We did it! We made it! As she will be. Oh, okay. I had to for a second be like, what? Where is that sentence going?
As she will be at pains to remind me, I have not paid Master Matoya a visit since returning from the first, but this seems as good a time as any. Come, let us make for her cave.
Be like, you never call home anymore. I thought that I raised you, taught you everything you knew, but I mean, I guess just leave me to rot in this hole underneath, you know? The cliffs where everybody has abandoned me. Like, looks out the door at Idleshire and the thriving metropolis. Well, it's not really a metropolis. The thriving small settlement. Just like all alone. No one here. You never Skype me anymore, Ishtola. It's, you know, it's hard with quarantine, I know, but if you could just Skype me every day or send me a text so that I know you're alive, it would really make a difference to me. I might be venting some of my own personal problems into this depiction. Anybody else struggling with their families and No, I mean, look, it's good to have people who love you. It just seems like as this drags on, we are all in need of a little bit of human interaction. And some are dealing better with it than others, you know? Let's go this way. I guess I don't need to take my little... I almost called it my putt-putt car. The reason is because that noise... Pip, 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 pip. It just makes me think of like a little putt-putt noise. Let's take the Amaro, because I'm feeling that right now. Oh, I guess the Amaro minion could come from, like, the final boss dungeon drop. Maybe that's where it comes from. Ah, the music in here is so good. There's a Saint Moist Chance Arboretum. It still really baffles me why the Charlines chose to name it that, you know. It seems weird, it seems oddly specific. Maybe there was some sort of really, I don't know, particular thing that happened there. Man, it'd be so cool if one day they actually put, like, aetherites on this map now that they figured out instancing a little bit better. There's so many Pirogos over here. Seems like we should be able to just repurpose one of these boys. Whee! Oh, this is where we're supposed to go. Alright. I take it you are ready to bear witness to the joyous reunion of master and pupil. Oh, very well. Go be crabby at each other. You're like two old ladies. Two old ladies, both of whom do have strong step on me energy. I want to put that out there. They both do. It's different for each, but it's definitely there. Like, Matoya could crush you, and you know that. Like, we all respect that, right? We just know.
Nary a word from you all this time. Then you bring every man and his Pirogo with you. Did no one teach you any manners, girl?
They were too busy teaching me etherology, Master. Jesting aside, I wanted to be the one to express our gratitude. I am told you spared no effort to sustain our bodies while we were away. And for that, we owe you our lives. Thank you.
You were gone so long. I was starting to think you'd set your heart on staying.
No.
It wasn't easy to leave, as it happens. Seldom does one have the opportunity to study other worlds, and I would not have minded extending my stay by a handful of years.
Oh, I also am just noticing some of the detail work that they did with her outfit from Shadowbringers, like the little gem that kind of matches Matoya's gems that she has, and this sort of like semi-Victorian influence, but like a little spiced up, you know what I mean? She got that like collar and the crisscross like she was out clubbing, but it does have a little bit of the sort of Matoya, Master Matoya sort of fashion in it, which is fun.
Ever the scholar, Y'shtola dedicated herself to studying ancient civilizations of the first, befriending a tribe known as the Knights Blessed in the process. There she took on the name of Matoya and won the respect of all the children of the forest.
And the love of one very good friend. Oh.
I merely adopted an alias in accordance with the custom of my hosts. Yours just happened to be the first name that came to mind.
You mean to tell me you went gallivanting about using my name and only bother to visit when you need a favor? And don't pretend you don't. I taught you long enough.
It's okay. It's okay. You did a goof. You did a goof, Alphino. You were trying to do it good.
And devoted pupil that I am, I could not fail to recall my master's sage advice. When the answer eludes you, look to the wisdom of your elders.
Their back and forth is so good.
You there. Were you going to introduce yourself?
This is my new good Sparkle Boy. He used to be rock candy, but he got all better.
Grahatia is my name, and I'm proud to call myself a scion. I too wish to offer my gratitude for your invaluable aid in sustaining the Archon's
so
bodies,
formal.
as well as my apologies. It was my inexpert summoning spell which endangered their lives in the first place.
Ah, yes. The one bent on digging up the mysteries of Allagan.
Oh, she
Galak
knows
used to
of
speak of you.
him.
And Cries told me all about your recent exploits. Do you have a bad back or something? At ease, boy. Whatever mess you've made, I'm not in the habit of dwelling on the failings of the younger generation.
Montoya is so good. Like, she'll give you crap, but she's like a good teacher and somebody who I think does really admire the people, the younger people that, like, you know, she has in her life and that she's taught. She respects them, right? Even if she and Stola have, like, a very specific banter that they do.
You are too kind. I've also heard much and more about you, Master Montoya. 'Tis an honor to finally make your acquaintance.
Well, that's more than enough pleasantries for anyone. Tell me what you want. I haven't got all day.
I mean, you do, but it's okay. Maybe you had other stuff you were gonna study. I don't know. Oh! I thought we were getting ready for... Maybe after the Porxia summit. There it is! The Porxi's just also like... also just going along.
So that's the way of it. It should be a simple enough matter to make the familiar. The magic, on the other hand.
I mean, they gotta imbue a lot of stuff.
Ah, that you may leave to me. Being the only one possessed of royal blood, I alone can imbue the subject with the necessary magic.
I bet you Montoya's gonna have an answer to that, though, right?
So I just need to create proxies with the power to stir the soul. Just, I say. Though we're talking about a veritable herd of the little buggers. We collapsed before we reached double figures.
I'm so glad we got more Montoya. She's so worth it. We needed more of her. I also hope we get her hair at some point. Like, it's very
If
good.
I could get a familiar to create the familiars. A mother Porxie, as it were.
Mama Pigum? A big Mama Pig would be so good.
Seems I haven't seen the last of that moldy old hole after all.
Dungeon, 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 dungeon. I'd be curious if, maybe like the dungeon is us actually like making the Porxies. I don't know how they would do that, but it'd be kind of fun if you were sort of corralling different elements or something that have to go into the sort of creation, and then at the end you like make the Porxie mom or something. Alright, off to my old workshop then. Everything required to make your familiar is there. That may be, but no one has set foot in there since the Exodus. I dread to imagine what has become of it. Oh, there's sure to be a handful of feral familiars. Mayhap a monster, too, but nothing to trouble the likes of you. You can consider cleaning up the place payment for my help. Fine, we'll do it. Oh, good girl. Now, if there are no other objections, I suggest you run along to the Maker's quarters. I'll send one of my Pirocos ahead to let you into the workshop. You need only tell him who you are. You can't be too careful, after all. Off you go. Go on. Leave me be. Montoya needs to watch her soaps. Okay, where is it? It's out here. Oh, it's on the other side. I guess it's fine. That's fine. We can fly. We've got the power. We can do it. I'm gonna take just 1 second though. Giving our party advance notice. At least one person who wants to run. So that when we do this first run of the dungeon, this initial playthrough, I can, you know, have some good allies on my hands, have some good fam with us. I'm just very excited. I hope the music is good. Oh, I hope the bosses are fun. I hope the design is neat. You know, I have a lot of hopes. I have a lot of hopes. I think it's gonna be totally fine. Especially now that we only get one dungeon per patch. It's a little bit more rough to, I think, bear the burden of wanting like a really good dungeon experience all on the one that's been released. So I'm hoping that this one will be good. It'll be a good offering. We won't mind having it on the expert roulette forever. That would be excellent. Gosh, even just based off of all of the architecture here in this zone, crumbling as it is, actually seeing Sharlayan would be amazing. I love all the details, the like nautiluses, everything. It's so cool. Judging by the unruly state of the floor without, I think it is safe to assume there will be no shortage of unruly fauna within. Add to that the undisturbed secrets of the workshop, and we have the makings of an adventure. The workshop was an unforgiving place even before the Exodus, and I doubt the years of neglect have improved it. Oh no, I skipped the other two, that's okay.
Greetings, David, and welcome to my good mistress's relict. Buuuuuuuuuu is my name, and I am honored to be your guide. Within, you will find a space dedicated to the making of familiars, along with a cavern wherein the requisite ingredients may be had. I must warn you, however, that the place is not played host to a single soul, much less a broom, in over 15 years, and will, I regret, be in some disarray. But rest assured, my brothers and I shall see to it you do not lose your way. Now then, Ribbit, only say the word, and I will show you in.
I don't know what this accent is, but apparently it's frog. Apparently that's just where my heart carried me. All right, we are going to get together a party,